Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining. So, we are really, really glad to welcome you all today and especially have the guest speaker with us, David Smith, who has been within the Django community since years, has contributed massively to Django Crispy Farms, Django Bench, and whatnot. He's been helping folks around. He has been a member of Django's Triage and Review team, and he'd be like helping us today with how the contributing process looks like around that bench. So we're really glad to have you, David. The floor is all yours. Please enlighten us with your insights.
Thank you very much, Priya, for a wonderful introduction. It's very kind of you. We're going to talk about the triage and review team today. There we go. So just a little bit of an introduction about me to start with. I'm David Smith. I'm based in the UK. Maintain crispy forms and all the associated template packages. So Bootstrap 5, 4, 3, and the Tailwind package as well. I've contributed to Django itself since 2020 and have been a member of the Triage review team for a number of years, and I stood down from that team earlier this year. And there's a couple of contact details if you want to reach out to me as well. So today I just wanted to talk about the background to the triage and review team, how it came to be, how the team works, and a little bit of an example of what you'll see the team doing. Then I guess what you won't see on the website, kind of what's in it for you as a member of that team. And then a little bit looking forward about the future, and then the question and answers at the end. So let's jump in. So first, a little bit of a backstory. So DEC 10, which some of you might have heard about, was the new governance regime that came in 2020. And this introduced a couple of new roles. So mergers and releases kind of does what it says on the tin. And these roles were held by the fellows. Originally, they, as part of the governance regime, that the fellows became the first mergers and releases, and really this put into the governance structure of what was really happening at that point in time. The fellows process had been running for a number of years, and they had done most of the review and release work at that time. It also introduced the what we will now call the steering council, what was called the technical committee at that time, and it also retired the previous Django core title. So that was the previous title where people would have the commit bit access. So yes, that came in 2020, and then I guess a couple of questions started to be asked as we started to work by those new rules. So the first one is, what happens when a merger proposes their own patch? So a merger is somebody who can merge something. Can a merger propose a patch and merge it? And the answer to that is no. It needs another merger to approve it to be able to merge it. So here's a screenshot from that sort of period where Mariusz, who was a fellow, would propose a patch. Over the weekend, other people would review it. In this case, a couple of active contributors. One of them was Tim Gray, a previous fellow. But Mariusz wouldn't be able to merge that ticket, merge that pull request until Carlton came in the next week to approve it. So it was just slowing down some of the activity. And this was like a one-line change to some tests, so it wasn't particularly controversial. And the second part of it was about recognition of active contributors. So there's a pool of active contributors to Django. It evolves over time. I guess with that retirement of the Django core title, what's the way that some recognition could be given to the active community? So the triage and review team was proposed, and this is a team of active contributors who can help request process pull requests and help spread the workload just beyond the mergers. So practically, what does it mean? So you have two rights, two I guess abilities as part of being part of the triage and review team. The first is that you can approve a merger's PR. So in that example we saw earlier, if a member of the triage and review team was to have approved Marish's request, he could go on and merge it straight away. And the second is you get granted access to GitHub's triage permission, which allows members to close PRs on GitHub. Most of the time, that will be closing spam PRs. There's quite a number of those, but also if somebody picks up an old PR and updates it and tries to progress it, somebody from the triage and review team can come along and say, here's the new PR, and then close the old one. And then it also has that second objective as some recognition for people in that team. So there's the page on the website where all the team members are listed. So that was what the team has powers to do, and then what you're seeing the team do. So as a volunteer role, it's the level of responsibility is quite low, which I think is right for a volunteer role, and therefore there's no specific tasks that that person is required to undertake. It's completely up to you how much you would like to put in or not. And the type of work that you'll see people doing is triaging tickets on track, and all the work that goes on beside that. So setting the correct flags and categorizing issues and triaging issues. That's work that this team will do. I would say the bulk of it is in code review, alongside probably proposing their own patches. You'll see most of the team commenting and reviewing PRs on GitHub, looking at the implementation, checking for tests, checking for documentation, and I think that's where, particularly something like the documentation, Django has got a style of documentation that it has, and because these people in this team have typically been about for a little bit of time, they can usually provide a bit of guidance, say typically we do it like this, or because we've got the topics documentation and the reference documentation, maybe it needs referencing in a couple of places. And then alongside that, you'll probably see some of the team engaging in community support. So commenting on the forums, maybe the new features repo, commenting on what they would like to see added or not, as the case may be. And then, yeah, I think that helping contributors bit is just so important. And I'll come on to it, but that's what I found most valuable from my experience in. Yeah, so I guess to bring that to life, to just a little bit of background before I jump in. So I learned all my Python and Django knowledge by, I guess, contributing to CRISPR forms and then building it up through Django itself. So all the review and comments that I've had from the community on GitHub is how I've learned, and it's just been amazing. So I'll just talk through this example. So this was the change that came in Django 4.0 that made the template be part of the form templates be rendered with the template engine rather than concatenating strings. There was a previous PR to this, but I guess to use Sarah's language, took the vulture approach and picked it up and tried to take it to the finish. And I think this was interesting for a few reasons. So there's a lot of comments on this PR. There's 182 comments, and I've seen it before, and I think, oh, that's a lot. That's possibly a bit overwhelming for somebody to open a PR on Django for the first time and have hundreds of comments. That's a bit much, but I think in this case, I think it actually shows the strength of the community and the review process. That yes, there was a lot of comments, but it's all constructive, and there's a learning process to get the patch into the state that it needed to be. And we achieved it over quite a short time frame as well. Bearing in mind there was a feature freeze, so it was something that the community kind of came around. Let's try and get this patch in ahead of the feature freeze. And as part of this, we discussed software design. So some of the review comments was you should break this out into mixins. So there's a renderable interface for both forms and form sets. We spoke about deprecating features and chunking work into separate PRs. So whilst it was the 1,000-line PR, there was other bits that was merged in advance. So some of the testing changes, we could do that first, and then they were ready in place for this PR. I think that's a good kind of view of what that team would do. So most of the comments on here would be from people who would be part of the triage and review team undertaking that kind of activity, like supporting people, coaching, and so on. Yeah, so this is the list of names that's on the current website. Just wanted to kind of celebrate and say thank you to the current people in that team. And I'm sure you'll recognise some of the names. So it's quite a wide group of people. So 11 people in that team at the minute. Some of them are on the steering council. Some of them are fairly new members. Some of them have been about for a while. Some of them are the Django fellows. So quite a wide range of experiences. Yeah. So I guess, how do you join the team? How does the team management work? So typically, if you're active for a little while, the fellows are very good at this. They'll see people contributing regularly for a little bit of time, and then they'll reach out to them directly and say, "Hey, do you want to be part of the team?" It's seen to be self-managing, so once in a while, I think it's typically associated with each kind of major release. Do you still want to be a member? Do you want to carry on being a member? So people get given the opportunity to step down, which is what I did at the start of the year. And then people are always welcome back as well. So just to talk about, I guess, what's in it for me. The first one is just the people bit. It's so I've been lucky to go to a couple of Django cons over the last couple of years, and I think without that community engagement, I would never have gone, knowing that there'll be people at a conference that you won't have necessarily met them face to face, but you'll have spoken to them on the forum, on GitHub, whatever. You'll have some kind of relationship with them, and then to go and meet them face to face for the first time is just amazing. If you get the chance to go to a Django con, I would definitely recommend it. And then having time to chat with these people at the conference, go for dinner with them, and so on. So I guess career opportunities. I think being part of the team can help you stand out. If somebody's got a long list of CVs, having that on your CV can help you stand out from the crowd. And I guess just to bring that to life, so look at the list. So some of these people you'll know are active in the community and are Django fellows, and some of these were Django part of the triage and review team before they became a Django fellow. I think alternatively, you might be like a consultant and have clients. I think having that experience of being able to merge tickets, patches to Django, possibly a little bit more speedily, because you've got that experience of what the quality is required, got a bit of community engagement, being able to potentially fix defects in Django itself, potentially quite quickly could be an opportunity for you. And then community opportunities. So as well as the triage and review team, maybe you want to become a member of the technical committee or the DSF board, or you want to talk at Django conferences or go on podcasts. Having experience of contributing to Django itself, I think, helps in all of those. So, for example, at DjangoCon in Edinburgh a couple of years ago, I gave a talk about the patches that we'd made, to the improvements that we'd made to the all the forms, and being able to write on my application, I'm a member of the triage and review team. I made these patches to Django. I think puts together a very compelling proposition. And then I guess just looking forward to the future. So this is something I posted on Mastodon at the weekend. So I haven't been super active lately, but I did start to review some patches more recently. And I think it's probably just a couple that I looked at, but they felt very kind of AI generated, and when I commented, a lot of the responses felt like AI responses, and I love AI. I'm not a skeptic. I'm a big fan of Claude, but I guess I was getting the same feelings from some of the comments as I was from Claude. Like, what a wonderful insight! That's amazing, and I think that's okay. But then it takes some of that warmth and human interaction away that you need to build a community. So we just need to be a little bit mindful that we're trying to build a community here. So yeah, we need that warmth and compassion and community building spirit, because if we want Django to succeed for the long term, we need to build the community for that long term sustainability. I guess I'm not sure what the answer is, but just that we just need to be mindful of it. That was it for the talk, I guess. Q&A.
Yes, thank you so much for this talk, David. This was really insightful. We got to know a lot about how the Triage and Review operates and your journey, which is really inspiring. So, everyone who's been here, the floor is now open for you to ask questions. You can raise your hands if you want to question directly, or you can drop it in the chat. Yes, Tim, let's begin with you.
I thought I was going to have a second, but yeah. Thank you, David. That was a great talk. I really appreciated getting a lot of like the history and the context of the team that I personally didn't have. I was hoping, do you have any tips for people getting started doing code reviews? I think triage is a little bit self-explanatory, like reproduce the issue. But I think review is probably a little bit, for me, trying to pick like which PRs to review is always a challenge.
Yeah, okay. So I think if you've got an area or an interest, I would suggest focusing on that. Django's a big project, and I would suggest focusing on a particular module would be a good way to start, because then you can probably build up a bit of experience in a certain area. And then there's probably multiple PRs that are open for any particular module. So yeah, that's what I would suggest, and probably I guess probably the ORM is probably the one that's probably always stands out as probably one of the most complex areas.
Is
And
the way
documentation is a good place to start as well.
the idea of trying to find PRs in a specific component is the way to do that, to go to track and use the component and then find the PRs. Okay.
Yeah. So on track, there's the dashboard, and then from the dashboard, it's got predefined filters, so you can see the number of PRs that are currently in the queue, and they're aged, and you can see them by component as well.
Neat. Did not know that. Thank you.
Thanks, Tim. Any more questions?
Are there some questions in the chat?
Yes, Ernesto, please go ahead.
Thank you for your presentation. When I was attending one Django conference in Europe a long time ago, it was during the sprint that we tried to validate some some tickets and reproduce some tickets. Is how does that fit in the current setup with the mergers and the other people?
So track is open. Anybody can review a ticket. I would say that probably most of that work is done by the fellows. Occasionally, probably Simon will comment on a lot of the ORM tickets that get opened as well. Yeah, so I guess while it's open to everyone, a lot of that work falls on the fellows for triaging of tickets on a day-to-day basis.
So, anyone else more questions? Please keep them coming. Yes, Paran.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi. So my question is like if I want to review a PR, so like I'm interested in a specific component and I'm like trying to review a PR. So like what should be the like first steps that I should look for? Like running tests, like something like that.
Yeah. I think reviewing the ticket would be a good place to start. And can you reproduce the issue that was in the ticket? That'll give you a good understanding of the issue. And then review the PR and see if it has tests and does the test cover the issue, and I guess does the proposed patch fix the test would be the question. And I guess once the patch is okay and the tests are okay, then you can make sure the documentation is appropriate as well. Does it need updating? Not all patches need a docs updates, but many do. If you have a demo project, that's a really good way of testing it as well. I quite like the polls tutorial that covers a lot of features. So having a tweak on there to cover the scenario that's being discussed is quite helpful as well.
Thanks. Hope that answers your question, Farhan. Yes, Ernesto, were you able to get to know the answer by David? I guess there was some network issue around that corner.
Yes, I got most of it. Thank you very much. My computer just crashed.
Oh, that's all right. Any more questions? Anyone? You can take one more question. Yes, Lupiana, please go ahead.
Hello. Thanks for sharing. That was very insightful. This is a follow-up to what I believe Tim and another of my colleague asked. Say someone suppose you explain how to get started and how to reproduce and understand what the PR is doing. So after you have reviewed and you are with what has been done, what are the next steps from there?
So the patch has been reviewed and you're happy with it. Is that what you're saying? So what's the next steps once you're happy with it and the person who's proposed it is happy as well?
That is correct.
Yeah. So the process from there is that typically the fellow would review it. So I would suggest leaving a comment saying that you're happy with the patch and that you have reviewed it. Make sure that the flags are set correctly so that it shows up in the review queue. Sometimes when patches go through a number of reviews, the flags can get missed, so it's not in the review queue. So that's worth checking. And then it will require a fellow review or a merger review before it gets merged. But making the patches higher quality as you can to ease that fellow review would be the aim.
For the detailed answer. Hope, Lupiana, that answers your question. So thank you so much. Thanks, David, for joining us and brewing some interesting conversations and insights around triage and review. Thank you, everyone, for your valuable time and being here. We'll see you next time. Thank you so much.